All right, Jesse, here we go. It's 2017 ASA in Paris, Texas. Time for the Senior Pro Shootdown. We have Darren Collins in the lead with a 4.17. We have Tony Taza right behind him at a 4.16. We have Art Brown at a 4.12. And we have Jim Frazier and Carl Atkins tied at a 4.11. So obviously after that women's shoot-off there, the wind didn't, it played a role for some of them. Obviously when it came down to the last arrow, Mike allowed 2 umbrellas. The 2 umbrella rule will not apply during the first 5 arrows, but with the experience of some of these gentlemen out here, I'm not quite sure how many umbrellas are going to matter, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, an umbrella is only going to help you so much, but it's more or less, how much wind drift you're going to get out of your arrows and knowing where to aim, knowing your setup, knowing how far it's going to drift, knowing how hard the wind's blowing. So that's going to be the challenge here with these guys.
Now, Darren Collins is shooting either X10s or ACEs.
He's actually shooting my arrows.
He is.
Yeah, he's shooting my Pro Tours.
Oh, there you go.
So
how convenient is that?
Yeah.
So were your guys' he got that off quick.
Yeah, he did.
Were your guys' specs that close, or did he just re-sight in?
Yeah, he come over and asked me there, and I was standing at the food truck, and he's like, "Yeah, you got any 420 Pro Tours?" I was like, "As a matter of fact, I do."
Nice.
So, yeah, there's the right length and weight and everything for him. So
there you go. Tony Taza holding a good bit here, and a letdown from Tony Taza.
Yeah, he shot good this weekend. It's good.
Yeah, Tony's been shooting pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Tony from up in PA asking his umbrella guy to get a little bit closer to him.
I don't know if he switched to smaller arrows or not. I think
interesting there to see Levi Morgan get up behind Tony Taza there on this shot.
Yeah, he's looking to see how much the arrows are drifting. I'm
yep, absolutely.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, Levi's up there trying to go to school.
Yep.
As any smart competitor would be.
Yeah.
There you go. Here we go. Here we go. Don heading out to the links for our leader, Darren Collins. Darren with a 10 for Darren. 4.27 for Darren Collins. 8 for Tony Taza.
Yeah, he just missed that one to the left there.
So Tony Taza is going to drop back another couple points there. 10 for Art Brown. So that's going to close the gap a little bit between Art Brown and Tony Taza. Taza now with a 2-point lead over Art. And an 8 for Jim Frazier. Carl Atkins with a 10. 4.21, so Darren Collins maintains his lead and actually picks up a little bit. So see how Darren and his Jesse Broadwater X10s can keep widening that gap as we move on to the next arrow. All right, Jesse, here we go. This is arrow number 2 in the Senior Pro, the ASA in Paris, Texas. Darren Collins opened up a little bit more of a lead on Tony Taza after that first arrow there. Darren Collins to full draw quickly. Gets his arrow off pretty much before anybody else even came to full draw almost.
Yeah, he's not wasting any time.
No, he's not. Darren, obviously one of the most successful hunters that archery has ever seen. He's got the Super Grand Slam almost 2 times over.
Yeah.
Or it might be 2 times and working on 3.
Yeah,
he's an incredible hunter.
He sure is. I enjoy listening to some of his stories.
All right, here we go. And an 8 for Jim Frazier. Art Brown on the whitetail. and an 8. Tony Taza on the Black Panther with a 10. Moving him to 434. Darren Collins shooting the tiny bullets today with an 8. So Tony Taza moves back to within 1 point of Darren Collins for the lead. And a 10 for Carl Adkins, moving him to 431. So Tony Taza closes back up to within one of the leaders heading into our third arrow. All right, here we go. Third arrow in the Senior Pro, the ASA in Paris, Texas. Wind is, I wouldn't say it's dying down here, Jesse, but it's definitely become a lot more manageable.
Yeah, it seems like it has. It seems like the gusts have cut down a little bit, so it should make it a little easier on these guys.
Darren Collins to full draw first. Let down for Darren Collins. Darren Collins drops down, is going to shoot off his knees.
Getting on his knees.
Which, for those of you out there, actually does work. You drop down your center of gravity, create less mass to grab wind. So if you've practiced shooting from your knees, which I'm sure Darren Collins has shot some of the biggest animals possible from his knees.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's close, guys. I mean, he shot. It's right up in that area. I don't have a great angle.
Art Brown taking his time down here on the end. On the heavy. And here we go. Jim with a 10. 437. Carl Atkins with an 8. Moves him to 439. Mike Tyrell was joking around a little bit there about the legalities of shooting off your knees, and obviously it is legal as long as you maintain your proximity to the stake.
Oh, yes, he does.
12.
Look at that. 12 from the knees.
12 for Darren Collins from his knees. That's a 447 for Darren Collins. Tony Taza with a 10. 444. So Darren Collins opens up that 3-point lead again, and that's an interesting point heading into the rest of this shoot down. How many people are going to follow suit with his knees? So
yeah.
Darren Collins opening that lead back up heading into the fourth arrow. All right, Jesse, here we go. Fourth arrow, men's Senior Pro, ASA, Paris, Texas. Pretty interesting third arrow there with Darren Collins pounding a 12 with your arrows from his knees.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, got him at a 447, and looks like Taz is right behind with the 444.
Tony Taza did full draw rather quickly on this one.
Darren's choosing to shoot from his feet this time.
Yes, he is. Of course, last time he did let down and then drop down to his knees, so lets that one roar. So we got Jim and Art have both let down. Looks like Tony Taza wanted to get that fourth arrow there off a little quicker. Last time he was, I think he was the last one to shoot, and here comes a little bit more wind.
I tell you, it's you got to take your shots where you can in the wind. So it probably just caught a little bit of a lull, and look there, the
Art
the
Brown's
umbrella folded in half like he was talking about earlier. So
yep, Art
that's-
Brown's umbrella holder holding it the wrong way. Or I don't know about the wrong way, but holding it a way. Yeah, he needs to. That guy needs to spin around and hold the umbrella the other way.
Yeah.
Jim Frazier on the Black Cat. There he goes.
There's Art Brown.
For those of you wondering, in the event that an umbrella would collapse like that and make contact with the archer, causing a shot to break when they didn't want it to, Mike Terrell had already stated that there would be an interference and the archer would be allowed to reshoot,
You can see the umbrella buckle.
which is just common sense.
Yeah. Yeah, he's usually pretty lenient with stuff like that.
These guys are shooting great.
Let's see what Tony's got here on the Havy.
Tony with a 12.
12.
All right,
Good
Tony's
shot,
got
Tony.
12, so we're marking him 1 point there.
Tony just is not going away down there.
No, he's not.
Turned into a great shootdown.
Tony after that 12. He's got a 10.
10.
Pushes to 457. Still holds on to a 1-point lead.
Oh, Tony and Darren keep jumping back and forth between a 1-point and a 3-point switch.
Yeah.
For that lower 12.
I believe he's going to be an
But he's got it instead. He moves him to
8.
447.
8 for Carl Adkins.
8. All right, so now he's
Getting down to the wire now, Jesse. Some of these guys are getting close to not being 10 points from the leaders, so 10 for Jim.
if he loses any more ground, he won't have the final arrow.
As they started a 411 tie. And for Art Brown. 10 will move him back to a 1-point lead. It is a
10.
448.
10 for a 448 here. That's going to make for a pretty interesting 5th arrow here. We got Darren Collins at a 457, Tony with a 456, and then we have Art Brown with a 448, and then 247s for Jim and Atkins. So heading into this 5th and final arrow, things could get very interesting. All right, here we go. 5th arrow in the senior pro here at the ASA in Paris, Texas. Got Darren Collins and Tony Taza going back and forth with Darren maintaining the lead. It's either a 1 or 3-point lead, arrow target for target. We got Art Brown, Jim Frazier, and Carl Adkins battling out there for the 3rd spot, with Art Brown maintaining a 1-point lead over Jim and Carl, tied at a 447. Darren Collins to full draw. Tony Taza's taking his time down there on the end. Darren lets down. Looks down at the ground. He might be contemplating going back down to his knees there, Jesse.
Yeah, I think he was. Worked for him the last time.
Wind has picked up right now. It's here about 5-10 minutes ago. It was a little more mellow than it is now. Tony Taza still not come to full draw yet. Darren Collins lets down for his 2nd time. All right, folks, so just got some clarification from David Hauser down there. It's actually a 2 letdown rule, not a 3. So Darren Collins to his knees is on his last draw, so he absolutely has to fire this arrow.
Ooh.
Oh, there he goes.
He didn't like that one too good, but
Nope.
That could change things right there.
yeah, that might mix things up a little bit.
Absolutely. Tony Taza taking his sweet time down there. That's a field shooter for you right there. That's a field shooter right there.
Yep.
Interesting, Tony Taza going to the Prevail. He'd been shooting the hyper edge type bow geometry the last several years.
Yeah, he was. He just switched to the 37-inch Prevail, I believe.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Tony Taza.
Tony Taza on the links.
We have a 10 for
10.
Tony. Moves him to 466.
466 for Tony.
448. Needs a
10 for Art.
Close. He's at 458.
Things are getting interesting here between Darren Collins and Tony Taza.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. Jim Frazier on the on the Black Cat. I don't think that's going to get it. 5.
So that will be
452. So that's going to bump Jim Frazier out of the 10-point buffer there. So that will finish his day. Most likely put Jim in 5th.
10 by him would keep him at 457, which he has.
10 for Carl Adkins. 457, which is going to keep him within 10 points of the lead. So he'll get to shoot a 6th arrow. Pretty important arrow here. 5 for Darren Collins. Ouch. So now Tony Taza just took a 4-point lead on 1 arrow, Jesse.
Yeah, that's what can happen. In 1 arrow, you can have that big of a swing.
Yep, so heading into our 6th and final arrow here, we have Tony Taza with a 466. And looks like all Tony needs to do here is maintain to cinch us out on the 6th and final arrow. Stay tuned. All right, Jesse, here we go. 6th and final arrow in the Senior Pro at the ASA in Paris, Texas. Big move on the last arrow with Tony Taza hitting a 10 and Darren Collins getting to his last draw from his knees and shooting a 5. So Tony Taza coming into this last arrow with a 4-point lead. We have Tony Taza with a 466, Darren Collins at a 462, and then the only guy within 10 points was Art Brown at a 458. So worst Art Brown can do is 3rd. And looks like, I mean, I can't really see Tony Taza taking a big risk here.
No, I don't anticipate any changes at all, really. I look for him to I look for them all to go for the 10. I mean, because they did move the stake around. They're shooting at a different distance, a little different angle here. And the 12 on this target is not very big in this wind.
No, and that's an interesting point. They actually are shooting from stake 1 to target 5. So they're actually shooting diagonal across the entire course, which is going to make this a pretty long heavy for a shoot down situation. Here we go. Sorry about that, folks. Carl Atkins actually was also in the 6th and final arrow. I forgot to mention that. So we actually have 4 guys shooting the 6th arrow. 5 for Carl Atkins. 462 for Carl Atkins. He'll take 4th.
He went for it. Got to give him credit. He went for it.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. That's actually a pretty stout shot on that javelina from there.
Yeah, that 14's hard to hit on that thing.
Right when the wind picks up. Man, the wind picks up here for Art. He's got to be pretty stoked about that as the umbrella behind him collapses.
Yeah.
As soon as the umbrella holder stops knocking him around, I think he'll try and shoot.
This is going to be interesting at this distance, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, the umbrella holder is going to block a good portion of it, but...
Right.
He's scoping. He's picking a spot pretty hard. He just caught an upper.
Yep. Art Brown calls upper.
Upper 12 on the javelina.
You know, with the wind,
And here we go. Art currently sitting at a 458. 8 points off the lead.
All right.
Looks like a solid shot from Art, but we'll let Dawn get down there and determine what she is. And a 10 for Art Brown. It's going to finish him up at a 468. All right, so Darren Collins, who came into this in the lead with a 417, is now sitting in 2nd place after 5 arrows at a 462. Tony Taza currently sitting at a 466. So not sure exactly what Darren can do in these conditions to kind of make up that ground. He is currently 2 points behind Art Brown, which obviously assuming he hits foam wouldn't be an issue, but I just don't see much strategy here for Darren, to be honest.
No,
There's just no way to go for a he can go for a 14, but
yeah, I mean, if he hits a 12 and, you know, hopes that Tony hits an 8, then they'll be tied again, but
right.
I don't see Tony not shooting a 10 on this one at least. So
yeah, I think Tony's just too disciplined to kind of let that happen. See, Darren's not starting out on his knees. Of course, he's not used his two letdowns yet, so. That didn't look like an X10 to me. That's a super drive.
No, that is a bigger one, yeah.
So he switched back to the big arrows. And a 10 for Darren Collins. So Tony Taza pretty much just needs an 8 or better to win this.
Yeah, yep, 8 or better to win.
What's that, Tony? You're going for the 14? Brilliant.
Tony making sure he's, since we're in the 6th and final arrow now, he is able to use 2 umbrellas, so Tony's doing everything he can to get the maximum amount of coverage. I'm a little bit worried about that umbrella right in front of him, because if a strong gust comes up and that umbrella folds, it actually folds towards Tony.
That's a Matthews umbrella, though. It's not going to fold.
All right. Perfect. Sorry I didn't notice that, Jesse. My bad. Umbrellas' lives matter. Here we go. Tony Taza to full draw for the win. Needs an 8 or better to bring home the championship. Looks like that's going to be a solid 10, and Tony Taza is going to be your 2017 ASA Paris, Texas champion.
Good to see Tony win.
All right, we're here with Tony Taza. What's going on, buddy? That was quite the exciting shootout. You guys were 1 point, 3 points, 1 point, 3 points, and then what did you think when Darren used his 2 draws and then went down to his knee there and hit that 5?
Actually, I didn't even notice it, but I was too busy worrying about my own shot.
There you go. Well, you shot incredibly consistent throughout that whole shoot down there, despite these conditions. Notice that you actually went to the Hoyt Prevail geometry bow this year instead of the Hyper. What precipitated that?
Well, I did some stuff with the Hyper, talking to some of the guys at the factory, and just really got it pounding, really shooting good. And it's got just the right amount of holding weight for me. I mean, the back wall, the softer back wall with a little bit different draw stop, is just worked awesome.
All right, congratulations.
Hey, thanks.